intended and not enunciated the intention. It is like mentioning the Hajj rite. So when you slaughter the sacrificial animal, you should specify what you intend. Is it for you or your parent or any other person? Thus, you specify for the purpose of distinction. Hadith 2. May Allah be pleased with him, said, one day while we were sitting with Allah's Messenger, a man approached us with very white clothes and very dark hair. No trace of journey was seen on him, and no one amongst us knew him. He proceeded and sat before the Prophet, caused his knees to touch his knees, and placed his palms on his thighs. He then said, O Muhammad, tell me about Islam. Allah's Messenger replied, Islam is to testify that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad is Allah's Messenger. Established the prayers, gives the zakah, fast in Ramadan, and perform the pilgrimage to the house if you find a means to it. He, the stranger, said, You have spoken the truth. Umar said, We, the companions, were astonished that he is asking the Prophet and then affirming his truthfulness. He then asked, Inform me about Iman. Allah's Messenger replied, Iman is to believe in Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers, the last day and preordainment, whether good or bad. He, the stranger, said, You have spoken the truth. He, the stranger, asked, Inform me about Ihsan. Allah's Messenger replied, It is to worship Allah as though you see Him, for even though you cannot see Him, He still sees you. He said, Inform me about the last hour. Allah's Messenger replied, The one being asked has no more knowledge about it than the one who is asking. He said, Tell me then about its signs. Allah's Messenger said, From its signs are that the slave girl will give birth to her mistress, and that you will see the barefoot, naked, and poor goat shepherds competing in erecting tall buildings. He, the stranger, then left, and after a long while the Prophet said, O Umar, do you know who was that questioner? Umar replied, Allah and His Messenger know better. Allah's Messenger said, That was Gabriel. He came to teach you your religion. This is a great hadith in which the Messenger of Allah explained the pillars of Islam and those of Iman. In it, he also gives explanation of al-Ihsan and some of the signs of the last hour. As such, the hadith defines the entire deen, shows that the deen has categories and that the people are not all the same in their deen. Among them is the Muslim, and then the Mu'min, and then the Muhsin. Some of these levels are greater than the other, except that a person would necessarily belong to one of these levels according to his ability. His saying, One day while we were sitting with Allah's Messenger, the companions have a practice of sitting with the Prophet, learning and seeking guidance from him. They would ask him regarding the matters of their deen and their worldly affairs. So, in one of their sittings with the Prophet, a man entered upon them with an unfamiliar look, as he said, A man approached us with very white clothes and very dark hair. No trace of journey was seen on him, and no one amongst us knew him. This is strange, because if he were to be from the city, they would have known him, pointing to the fact that he is from outside the city. However, no trace of journey was seen on him. The common thing is that the traveller is slovenly, unkempt, and dusty, as contained in the hadith. This is because journeying necessitates that the traveller would not be so keen about taking care of his body or trimness, as he would do at home. So this man is not looking like a stranger, since no trace of travelling is noticed on him, and he is not a resident, since they do not know him. If he were a resident, they would of course know him. It became clear in the end that this man was Gabriel, who has come in this form.